much do you think about the questions that you ask? Mike Michalowicz, in his book, The Pumpkin Plan, talks about asking better questions. This includes the ones that you ask your customers. I'm Raejean Roberts with Social Media Snapshots, and in the last video, we talked about the questions that you ask yourself. But this video, we're focusing on asking better questions from our customers to get better feedback and better serve them. So there's the bad questions, there's the good questions, and there's the unexpected. So we're going to start off with the bad questions so we can understand how the questions that we ask stand in the way of getting the results that we want by triggering human nature responses. So I see a lot of this in those satisfaction surveys. An automated rate my performance type question or survey, they're so vague that they don't really allow us to give the kind of feedback that really means anything. And since it doesn't feel like it means anything, or we can't answer the way that we want to, I know me and most people just opt out. They're so generic, and it doesn't feel like, especially if you're talking to like something automated, it's hard to feel like anybody's on the other end paying attention or that anybody really cares. It's just kind of an industry standard instead of, someone really looking to see how they can make my experience better. So, and asking your questions, asking your customer straight up, hey, rate my performance face to face, isn't really that much better. Kind of like if you have to ask if you gave a 5-star service, then you probably already know the answer. Most customers are really uncomfortable giving that kind of face-to-face feedback too. It's, they're put on the spot, and nobody wants to be that guy or be that person and be mean or insulting. So most people are just going to kind of smile and go, oh, it was great, and not give you really anything that you can work with or anything like authentic and genuine. So that's the challenge of those kind of questions. I don't know, let me know in the comments, what do you think? How comfortable are you when someone comes and asks, hey, do you give me a 5-star review? Put that in the comments below. I'd love to hear your responses or see your responses. So, so what if the questions are better? So what if instead of, rating me, the questions are more about your customer? So instead of asking them if you gave them a 5-star service or a 5-star product, what if you ask them about the customer? Ask them about their own experience, their own feedback, takeaways. Instead of more of an ego boost for you, it's focused on them. So Mike Michalowicz recommends asking your best customers for their wish list and keeping it to more industry specific instead of you specific. So when it's industry specific, it's more of a safe environment. It's not anything that they're complaining about, they're not complaining about you, it's the industry. So it gives them a little more comfort, a little more kind of wiggle room to express how they feel without worrying about, without being uncomfortable about if it's insulting to you or, if it's being nice or however. So it just kind of takes that step back, and keeping it about the industry can help you to really get some more honest answers. You can ask them, what kind of problems your industry provides. What problems in your industry do you wish that you could solve for them? So now again, it's still not you, it's the industry. What's wrong with the industry? What would you like to see different? How can I solve that? What are your problems that you would love for me to solve? Or how would you like me to make your life easier in the industry, right? So when you ask questions to learn more about their lives beyond just your product or service, and how your business serves them, you can start seeing more patterns. So you can offer some different solutions, something a little more unique. It helps you to, see the big picture, and you can easier see, what are some of the out-of-the-box thinking. If you're just keeping your questions so specific to what you do, just a specific product, you're going to have really limited results. So by looking at the whole person that you're dealing with, or the whole, your whole customer and all of their challenges and their problems and their issues, you can start seeing some patterns that way. Um, so it was these kinds of questions that I knew I needed to make, I knew I needed to ask with the Social Media Swing 21-day challenge. So I did the challenge and I got a lot of good results from it, but I kept asking questions and people were like, oh, 21 days is kind of a lot. The pace was pretty slow, so I was able to take that feedback, and it was less about the challenge, but maybe the pace or their busy lives, the way they learn is how those questions or those answers came, and that's how I was able to adjust what I do, my service, to what their needs were, and got a so much better result. So asking more about overall type things sometimes can give you those open-ended questions that can allow you to better connect with your customers and see what they need and want from you or from your industry. Um, Lady Boss is a supplement company, and they always would ask, oh, what flavors do you guys want? Or out of these 4 flavors, which one are you most excited about? And they never, I think their saying was, we don't launch products, we launch questions, and their products were in response to the questions that were asked. So they would, they would typically sell out of their flavors when they introduced a new flavor of protein shake, because they already knew what their customers wanted the most. So if they surveyed and everyone's like, yes, cinnamon roll sounds amazing. Hey, guess what? 3 weeks later, cinnamon roll, it's a new flavor release. You asked, we provide. So just giving your customers that place to speak about what they want. Does that mean you can always give them exactly what they want? Absolutely not. But the more you know about what they want, the more you can strive to fill their needs. So before we move on to the unexpected questions, be sure to hit that subscribe button below and join so you can be alerted when all the new videos come up. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So next we're going to talk about the unexpected questions. Mike Michalowicz in Pumpkin Plan, he suggests, instead of maybe questions, asking for their advice. So treat your customers like the experts that they are. That nobody knows what they want more than your customers. Now, we all know customers don't always know what they want, or they're not able to articulate or tell you what they want. But the more questions that you ask them, and when you're asking them for the advice, they can say, oh yeah, that is what I want, or they can give you some better feedback. So, I mean, who doesn't want to feel like an authority? We all want to feel like an authority of us, right? Of what we want, or what we want to see in our industry or in our lives. What kind, those Lady Boss customers, they know what flavors they like. They know what they want to be consuming. So by asking them, those types of questions. So when Mike Michalowicz in the book Pumpkin Plan, he talks about, hey, I've got this new idea and I'd love to sit down and get some advice from you. And he would tell him the overview of the plan and ask him questions about what they thought about the plan, if they had any advice, and he would take their suggestions and he'd go back to the drawing board and he'd rework his product or service, and then you go back, okay, now I made these changes, what do you think about that? And it would go back and forth until they started saying, ooh, how much is that going to cost, or when can I buy that? And that's when he knew he was on the right path. That's when he knew he was ready to finalize the product or service and bring it to market to his customers. And it's kept him, it's a streamlined way. It's a way we sometimes we get in our own head, right? We want to make what we want to make and the people should just buy it. Or we make a product or service and we go out and now we're like, we have this great thing, let me go find the audience for it, instead of finding our audience and finding out what they want and providing it to them. So this is a great strategy that Mike Michalowicz shares in the Pumpkin Plan, and that we had a great discussion on in the Business Boss Book Club. Oh, can't say that 3 times fast. Business Boss Book Club. And so with the Business Boss Book Club, we are talking about the top books, the best business books. And we're not just reading them and hoping we get something out of it. We're having like in-depth discussions about the different principles that we learn in those best books, like Pumpkin Plan. And then we also take time to actually workshop and put those principles that we have learned into action. So that is what's happening in Business Book Club. I love talking about all that we can learn from these authors that have so much experience and knowledge, and they have figured it out and they lay everything out for us. And sometimes it's a little bit hard to translate how that applies to us. How do we apply that to our business? And that's the kind of discussions that we have in the Business Boss Book Club. I have the link for you in the description if you want to check it out. We'd love to have you join us. Just click that link below, and I will see you in the next video.